this special adult showcase. This is Across Borders Season 5. And on behalf of all the feast directors and the feast members, I, Lavanya Prasad, connecting from Bengaluru, India, welcome you all to this wonderful, wonderful showcase. So what is feast? So some of you who are joining us for the first time, I would like to tell you a little bit about feast. So feast is Federation of Asian Storytellers, and it was formed by a group of experienced storytellers in the year 2018 in Chennai on 24th of August. And the only aim, or should I say two aims, that the feast directors had in mind was, one, to make storytellers connect internationally, like give opportunities for storytellers across the world to travel, to connect and to collaborate with other tellers all around the world, and to also help storytellers hone their skills so that we become better performers. Now, has Feast done this in the 8 years? Hell yeah. Because if you go to feaststory.org and look at the events that is conducted by Feast, you will see all the different showcases and the different events that Feast does, of which one is Across Borders. Now, what is Across Borders? Well, I should say the idea for Across Borders originated when Feast did the Indonesian conference, when we traveled to Indonesia to conduct our storytelling conference, because there something very special happened. You know what? A group of storytellers from India went to Indonesia and collaborated with storytellers in Indonesia, and we presented Ramayana, which was common to both the countries. And what people witnessed there was magic, because the Indian storytellers brought the Indian context, the Indonesian storytellers brought the Indonesian context, and it was truly a collaboration of cultures. That is when the idea of starting Across Borders came, and when Feast requested if I could be the institutional license for the same, I said yes with a big smile. And I should say that we have conducted in the previous years over 4 Across Borders storytelling adults showcases with 4 of our institutional members already. We started with the Australian Storytelling Guild New South Wales, followed by Ayodongeng Indonesia, Storytellers Association Singapore, and the previous was with Hong Kong Stories. And today it is very, very special because, like many of you know, Feast is having its Storytellers Conference happening in Chennai this year, 2026. And do you know who we are going to collaborate for this adult showcase? Of course, our hosts for the event, Springboard Tales. Springboard Tales is a dynamic group of storytellers who have come together, and they are very busily organizing the conference for us in Chennai, as we are happily sitting and relaxing and typing and registering in our laptops for the conference. Today is going to be very, very special because the topic is also chosen by our storytelling conference hosts, and they chose She Who Speaks. So what is She Who Speaks? I know you all are intrigued, right? And for that, without any further ado, I will have to hand it over to the MCs for the evening. And now I have something very important to tell about the MCs. We have 2 MCs for today, one from Springboard Tales and one from Feast members. The one who's representing Springboard Tales today is Pratigya Haran. You would have seen Pratigya in many of the Feast events. She is an amazing host, somebody who thinks on her feet, and I don't want to tell much about her. I'm a big die-hard fan of her smile. If I tell her that, she will say, no, don't do that. But I'm going to tell her, you see that, right? That beautiful small thing that comes on her cheeks. I'm a big die-hard fan, and she is an excellent host too. The second host or the MC for this evening is representing Feast, and that is Zip. Zip, yes, and she is. We have this term in Tamil called Endupatani, or you know. Jumping beans. So whenever I look at Zip, that is what I get. She is like a jumping bean, full of energy. So we have two dynamic MCs who's going to host the show for us. And so without any further ado, I'm going to hand it over to them as we witness the adult showcase, which is a collaboration between Feast members and Springboard Tales. Over to you, dear MCs.
Thank you, Lavanya. Thank you so much. All right. So, as Lavanya was saying, we are here to MC the show, and I will kickstart it. To begin with, we have the first teller from Springboard Tales. Well, I'm not going to tell you much about the storytelling background or the professional background about these people because they are very good friends. I'm going to tell you some nitty gritty about them. That's what I'm going to enjoy more. So, our first storyteller is Alvin Ansar Raja. Springboard Tales is his brainchild. He was the one who just said, hey, let's all get together and do something. And that was my first collaborative project. And all that the rest of us did was nodded our head and just toe the line. That's all that we did. We've done lots of interesting things together. And here we are hosting the show, the conference soon this year. Before that, we have this across borders. So where we get to meet the entire Feast community. Alvin Ansaraja, I'll tell you something about him which many of you might not. He plays the guitar and he interweaves that into his telling. And I can't wait for him to pick up his guitar again, string them again, and start performing with your guitar. So that's another motivation for you, Alvin, to get into that. So we're going to start She Who Speaks with a he. Alvin.
Being the wife of a man, difficult. I'm sure all of you here would agree because I'm the only man here. Right? Being the wife of a poor man, terrible. But being the wife of a superstitious man, horrific. But being the wife of a man, poor and superstitious, oh, you wish he didn't even exist. Well, she did exist a long time ago in the hands of Mr. Vishnu Poti, the temple priest, poor and superstitious. To all the devotees who came to the temple, he said, offer your food to guests. Offer your food to guests if you want to attain heaven. Had he lived today, he would have run a YouTube channel with over 1 million subscribers with tips on how to share food. But thankfully, he lived in the days of old. But why thankfully? Every day, Mr. Vishnu Poti scanned the temple and looked for the man with the biggest belly because he believed the bigger the guest belly is, the more you had to offer, and when he eats more, the gods are more pleased, and thus your chances of going to heaven are brighter. Every afternoon, Mr. Vishnu Poti and his pot-bellied guest went to the temple priest's home, ate heartily. The pot-bellied man returned home with a smile, while Vishnu Poti, the temple priest, went back to the temple, offered his thanks to the gods for giving him a safe passage to heaven. But I told you, he was poor. So where did all the food come from? Every afternoon, after the guest and Vishnu Poti left the house, the wife sat in a corner, wiped her tears, drank a glass of water, and returned to her chores. Because the principle of offering food according to Vishnupoti was deeper. He also believed that if you offer your wife's food, you and your wife have an easy chance of going to heaven. This is why I said thankfully. One evening, Mr. Vishnupoti was lying on his bed, looking up the ceiling, murmuring his praises to God, when suddenly the wife knelt beside him and said, I want to talk to you today. What? I can't do this anymore. What you can't do anymore? Oh. Every month you give me little money. And with that money, I make little breakfast, little dinner, and lunch. I have little breakfast, I have little dinner, but lunch, you and your guests eat everything. And I starve. I can't do this anymore. Please stop bringing your guests. Oh! Oh, you ignorant fool. Don't you know that by offering your food, you and I can go to heaven easily? Do you wish that us, you and I, rot in hell? Go. The next afternoon, Mr. Vishnupoti and his pot-belly guest arrived for lunch. Suddenly, Mr. Vishnupoti remembered and said to the guest, Oh sir, please wait. I forgot to get banana leaves for you. Let me go and get some. And he left out to get banana leaves. For those who are unaware of the Indian tradition, we use banana leaves as serving plates. Yeah. So now he went out to get the banana leaves. The guest sat on the floor and he saw a strange sight. The kitchen door was slightly ajar, and through it he saw the wife kneeling in front of a pestle. Curious, he walked closer when he heard the chant, Oh pestle, please be kind on the guest. Oh pestle, please be kind on the guest. What's happening here? Oh pestle, please be kind. Oh pestle, please be kind. Tell me what's happening here. Oh, I cannot tell you. I'm not a she who speaks. Tell me. Every day, my husband brings guests, serves them food, and then takes this pestle and crushes them. Oh, I don't want any part in this sin. I don't want any part in this sin. Oh, pestle, please be kind to the guest. Oh, pestle, please be kind to the guest. What? He serves food and crushes the guests? Oh, no, never. I don't want such food. And the guest ran away. The wife. And she rose up and got back to her chores. When the husband arrived with the banana leaves, he asked, Hey, where is the guest? Oh, the guest asked for pestle. How can I give him the pestle when we have only one? Oh, you fool, we must give everything what the guest asks, then only we can go to... give me the pestle. And he took the pestle, hurried out of the house, saw the guest and screamed, Oh sir, pestle. Oh no, what the wife said is true. And he ran off while Vishnupoti chased. Back at the house, the wife sat on the floor, opened the banana leaves, gathered all the bowls around her, served rice, poured some gravy, or in our terms, we'll say sambar, added some vegetables. Oh, I'm not a she who cries. I'm not a she who pleads. I am a she who speaks. And that's the end of the story. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Alvin. It's what a wonderful story. It's always a big job opening the show, but you were great. You are an amazing storyteller, and you are a good husband too, I believe. Now, our next teller, Alisa Curtain, joins us from Australia. Hello, Alisa.
Hi.
Alisa's been teaching for 30 years, more than 30 years, and she has a graduate diploma in creative writing from Deakin University. Alisa is the host of the Heart of Storytelling podcast, and she is currently the president of the Australian Fairy Tale Society. So guess what she's going to tell today? A fairy tale. Over to you, Alisa.
Thanks, Sip. This is from Germany. There was once a king who was so single-focused on the hunt that he forgot about everything around him. He focused on the prey, and through the forest he went on his horse until all of his entourage were completely gone. He found himself in a grove of trees where the trees seemed to speak to him as he was looking around trying to find a way out. But there was no way out, and the sun was going down. The king turned and looked and couldn't find anything, when suddenly, in the corner of his eye, he saw an old woman. "Your Highness," she said, "you appear to be lost. I know the way out, but you must come with me and marry my daughter." The king had been married before, and he had 7 children, 6 sons and a daughter. Maybe it was time to marry again. So he followed the old woman through to her little cottage where there was a princess, or a young woman, sitting very, very finely. She was very beautiful, but something inside him all crawled. There was something about her that just made his skin crawl. But nevertheless, he'd made an agreement. In exchange for marrying this young woman, he would be shown the way out of the forest. He took the young woman in front of him on the horse, and the path between the trees was opened, and he found himself back on the path to his home again. As soon as he got to the palace, he sent a runner to send his children off into another palace deep in the forest, because he had a bad feeling about this new bride that he married. He didn't like her one little bit, and he was worried for his children. They were married, as was the agreement, and the king, after a few days, went to find an old witch who gave him a spell that cloaked the castle where the children were in a magical dome where no one could find them except for a ball of yarn, which, when he rolled it in front of him, showed the way to his children. And when the children saw their father coming up the laneway, they ran out to greet him every time. But soon the new queen became jealous and confused about where her king was going. Why was he going for so long, and where was he going? She started asking in all the servants where he was, and no one would talk. But eventually she bribed, and one by one they told her of the children. They told her of the ball of yarn, and they told her of the castle. She at once stitched some shirts that were enchanted, got the ball of yarn and rode out to the palace where the children were. And of course the yarn showed the way. And when the children saw a figure coming up the road, they thought it was their father. And the 6 boys ran outside to see their father, but instead they found a queen, this new queen, and she threw 6 shirts over the boys, and they at once turned into swans and flew off into the sky. The queen, thinking she had done her work, turned around and returned to her king. Meanwhile, the youngest, Eliza, the daughter, had watched everything from the window. She had seen the woman come up. She had seen her brothers turn into swans, and she raced down and picked up the feathers that they had left. It wasn't long until her father came, and he tried to convince her to come back to the palace, but she had seen the queen's evil. She did not want that for herself. So instead of going with her father, she turned and ran into the forest. Turning her back on her father and on the queen, she went after her brothers. She went deeper into the forest, and as she went, all the arms got cut and her face and skin were all torn from the trees. And eventually, close to sunset, she found a cottage which had 6 little beds. And she crawled inside and went under one of the beds and went to sleep. But as the sun came down, just in that beautiful moment when the sun touches the horizon and then sinks down, she heard the fluttering of wings, and 6 beautiful swans landed in the doorway and at once turned into her brothers. She ran and embraced each of them in turn, and they told her that they only had 15 minutes a day to be human again, for they were enchanted for the rest of the day. "Please, I can fix this. What can I do to save you, brothers? I can do it." And they said, No, it is far too hard. It is too much of us to ask of you to do this thing. Whatever it is, I will do it, she said. "Well, for one, you cannot speak. You cannot sing. You cannot hum. You cannot make a sound out of your mouth for 6 years. And in that 6 years, you must sew us shirts of nettle." Eliza knew at once what she must do. She stopped speaking. She gave her brothers a hug, and she turned out into the forest where she started gathering nettles. Now, I don't know if you know much about nettles, but they have little spikes on them. And so every time you touch one, your hands get little splinters in them. But Eliza gathered the nettles, put them in her arm. She would prepare them and then sew them into shirts, which would be what would needed to break the spell. At the end of every day, she would soak her palms in water and then pick each of the splinters out of her hand, and the next day begin again. And this is how she lived. At the end of 1 year, she'd made 1 shirt, and the second year another shirt. And she'd set herself up in the crook of a tree where she wouldn't be disturbed by wild animals. And every day she stitched and stitched. And one day she heard the hunting horn, and in through where she was came an entourage of men, including a very handsome young prince. And he looked up at her and he said, "Come down." And she didn't make a sound. He called to her in every language he knew, but she still wouldn't budge. She threw down her ring. She threw down her necklace. She threw down her dress. And still they wouldn't leave her alone. In the end, the prince sent up a huntsman who brought her down, and she came down hugging the finished shirts and all of her supplies. And the young prince, who was kind, saw that these were important to her and let her keep them. He took her back to the castle, where she was bathed and washed and given fresh, clean clothes, and every day she would gather and stitch the shirts and then pick out of her hands. The young prince was enamored with her, and they had dinner every night together. And over time, even though she didn't speak, they fell in love. But the mother-in-law, the prince's mother, was not happy about this. He thought she was bewitched because she didn't speak. But they married anyway, and at the end of 1 year, they had a beautiful baby boy. And as she lay him in the bed that night, the mother-in-law came into the room and stole the baby away. She had slaughtered a goat and had the blood of the goat with her, and she wiped the blood across Eliza's lips, and in the morning accused Eliza of eating her baby. The prince could not believe that his beautiful wife would do such a thing. No, it couldn't have been her. You are wrong. She wouldn't have done that. But Eliza knew what had happened. Another shirt was made, another year passed, another baby was born. And as she lay the baby in his cot that night, she went to sleep. And again, the mother-in-law came in with blood, wiped it on her lips, and stole the baby away. After the third time, the prince could not deny what was happening anymore. He had lost 3 children. This was not going to happen. The punishment for such a thing was to be burnt at the stake, as was the way for witches. Eliza at this point had finished 5 shirts, and the last shirt, she'd finished all of it except for one sleeve. And she gathered the shirts with her, and as they took her towards the pyre, ready to be tied and burned, she looked up and saw 6 beautiful swans, her brothers, and she threw 6 shirts over them, and they at once turned back into men. All of them fully as they were before, except one, the youngest, who instead of an arm had a swan's wing. She turned to her husband and spoke her very first words to him. "Husband, I am innocent. I would never kill our children." She told him that she had heard that their mother-in-law had taken them to an orphanage. The prince sent for the children at once, sent for his mother at once, and she, well, some stories say instead of Eliza being burnt, the mother-in-law was burnt. She might have run away. We don't know. But what we do know is that Eliza was not only reunited with her brothers, reunited with her children, and finally got to speak the words that she always wanted to say to her husband. And they lived happily ever after. Thank you, everyone.
So beautifully told, Eliza. Thank you so much for that beautiful story. I mean, when you can't speak for 6 years, oh my God, not 6 years, but for the number, 6 years. I can't imagine. I can't imagine not speaking for 6 years, and then I'm glad she finally did. So thank you so much for that beautiful story, Eliza. Moving on to our next storyteller. Just like how Eliza in our story faces a lot of trouble, but she does what she needs to do. Our next storyteller, Ambujavalli, or Ambu as we call her, is very, very similar. She somehow manages to find time for everybody and everything in the world. I'm sure God has bestowed her with 28, 29 hours at least, while the rest of us struggle with our 24. And something that I would like to also add about Ambu is just like how I said we have a guitarist, we also have a veena player. She plays the veena, she tells the stories with the veena, and we hope that you tell a lot more stories with them, Ambuja. Over to you.
Thank you, Prati. Though I'm still figuring out whether this is a bane or a boon, both for me and for others. Well, it was a beautiful Sunday morning. You know, the lazy, nothing to rush kinds. And even more special because I was the only one at my house, no one else to disturb. I had a big to do list, but that list can wait. What did I do? I switched on my rice cooker, grabbed my favorite snack, and settled in front of my television. And while I was skimming through the channels, this particular flash news grabbed my attention. A 12-year-old little girl, a victim of molestation. And the screen froze for me. I was taken years back to the memories of that one little girl whom I knew very well. With cute little braided plaits tied with brown ribbons, with a string of flowers, wearing the school uniform that was a beach shirt, tucked inside a brown skirt, brown shoes, brown socks, a big forehead, a bindi, the sacred ash, and kumkum. To put it in very simple words, the typical, conservative, innocent-looking South Indian girl. She bid bye to her mother and she went to school. During the lunch break, she was coming down the stairs when she saw this man who was walking upwards. She moves a little bit to give him way, but this man doesn't seem to notice. The more she moves, the more he comes closer. And at one point, he's so close to her that she feels like she has been trapped. And before she could realize what was happening, this man comes even closer, lifts his hand, brings it closer to her, and gives her the most disgusting experience that she had ever had. And the next moment, he's gone. And this girl doesn't understand what happened to her. Being brought up by a family full of caring and concerned, decent men, celebrated, pampered, and loved by everyone, she had never experienced anything like this before. But she knew that she didn't like what happened to her. Hot tears welling up. And anxiety, anguish, anger all piled up. And thousands of worms. She was feeling thousands of worms crawling upon her. She rushes to the principal's room, but stops midway. What if the principal blames me? What if she says, why weren't you inside the class and why were you roaming around? And what if she calls my parents? No, I don't want to bring disgrace to my parents. She doesn't speak. She just silences herself and goes back. That evening, as soon as she reaches her home, she rushes to the bathroom, she removes her uniform and changes into another set of clothes. But that poor little girl did not understand that the horrible effect of that unwanted press will not go away just by merely changing the dress. Well, that was only first of the multiple experiences that followed. Coming from a very conservative family, she was expected to follow certain rules, especially in dressing. And one of those was to always wear a dupatta. A dupatta is this loose cloth which is worn by women to cover the upper part of the body, to hide all those projecting parts so as not to distract men's attention. And this little girl happily embraced all the rules because she didn't want to attract the attention of the men in whatsoever way. But you know what? Few men are very adventurous. Give them challenges. Give them hurdles. They want to establish their power. And they would explore. And they would lay their hands underneath what lay there. Crowded buses. Any kind of gatherings. Abandoned streets were all nightmares for her. A stranger man in the vicinity, and her heart would start pacing. She would start panicking. She would look around for that first escape route to flee away from that place. A girl blessed
or should I say cursed, with wonderful imaginative powers. She imagined a lot. She imagined of torturing all these culprits, all the violent means possible, stabbing knives, acids, electric shock. She would have thought of everything. But in reality, when it happened, all she would do was to control her tears, keep it to herself, come home, show her anger on the pillows and the walls, and just go inside herself. At one point, she realized she did have something in her control. And what was that? To hate her own body. Oh God, why did you give me this body with this, which is nothing but trouble to me? Did I ask you for all these body parts? Can't you take away all these from me? It looks like God was also helpless. With experience comes learning. And she also learned. She built a protective sheath around her antenna always vigilant. And she started avoiding places that created problems for her. And she did succeed to a certain extent. And that's when she moved to another city to continue her higher studies, where she met the love of her life and something changed. A brother with 3 sisters, he was able to understand what she had been through. The more he comforted, all the agony, all the pain that was piled up inside her started coming out one after the other. The more he comforted, the more she relaxed. And the more she relaxed, on the downside, the protective sheet started to melt away. And the experience returned. But this time, she spoke for herself. And she made sure the culprit was punished. But still, she hated her body. Years down the line, she got married to her lover. Now there was someone to love her body, but she still hated her body. 5 years down the line, she birthed her first child. It was a cesarean delivery, and under the effect of all the medication, she was so disoriented, lying on the hospital bed with so much of pain, when the nurse brings the wailing child closer to her to feed on her. And she was like, "Can't someone please stop this wailing of this child?" The child is brought closer to her. And as the child starts to feed, the wailing stops. And she and I open my eyes, look down at that little bundle of joy who was feeding on me. Those little pair of eyes, do they look like mine? And that nose, it's very sharp, not mine. Look at the joy. Look at the contentment when he's feeding on me, my body. And I realized that was the very first time I was looking at myself, my own body, with admiration and not hatred. And as I continued adoring my child, through the hazy film of my teary eyes, deep inside, I knew my experiences have stopped once for all. The whistling of the rice cooker brought me back to the present. I switched off the TV. I went to the prayer hall. Oh dear God, please, let this girl who I just saw on the television not hate herself for what she had been through. Let her not hate her body because it was no mistake of hers. Not everyone can wait till childbirth like how I did to start loving her own body. And when I stopped, I was like, what? Was that me? When did I start thinking about the girl? What happened to all those violent means of torture? And it sweetly dawned upon me, maybe, with the coming of age, my priorities are becoming clearer. Who is more important, the victim or the culprit? What is more important, killing the snake or healing the poisoned one?
At 16, when I had a hair full of dark, dense hair, when I had a head full of dark, dense hair, face without a single blemish, and a body with the right curves at the right places, I hated my body. But now, at 49, with a receding hairline and with a hair half turned grey, face full of freckles and wrinkles and flabs hanging here and there, trust me, I do nothing, absolutely nothing to make myself look younger than what I am. No coloring, not even makeup. But I still love my body because I have hated it enough. And it is time that I keep loving it the way it is till I part with it. For as we all know, aging is beautiful. Chudari, chudari, உடைந்து போகாதே உடனே வலிகள் மறைந்து போகாதே சில நாள் வரைக்கும் அதை சீண்டாதே அதுவாய் மறக்கும் பின் தோன்றாதே இதுவும் கடந்து போகும் எதுவும் கடந்து போகும். One of my very favorite healing songs, the essence of which means everything takes a time to heal. Give it the time, and this too shall pass. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amber. What a powerful story. And I love and I connect deeply to your story. And I believe that many women out there can relate to it too. And I think I'm speaking for everyone when I thank you for telling your story. A story that women from many generations have been told to hide and to bury. Thank you, Ambu. And it is now to meet our next teller, Alicia Dongju Bang from Korea. Alicia is an international storyteller, an educator, and the president of the Korea International Storytellers Association. Throughout her amazing career, Alicia has run a storytelling school, nurtured young storytellers, and organized the Korea International Storytelling Festival. What an amazing career, Alicia. Everybody, please welcome Alicia.
Some children are born the moment they are born, but some children are abandoned the moment they are loved in this world. Hello everyone. 안녕하세요. My name is Alicia. I'm your storyteller today. Today, I would like to share a story from Korea. It is a story about a child that once abandoned. Her name was Pa-di. A long, long time ago in the land of Korea, there lived a king and a queen. They had only one wish, a son. The first child was born, a daughter. The second was a daughter. The third, the fourth, the fifth, 6 daughters were born. Finally, the 7th child was born. That child was a daughter again. The king turned his way out. Abandon her! The servant left the daughter deep in the mountains. The daughter. The baby didn't cry anything. She slowly opened her eyes and looked at the world. The baby was Paddy. Time passed. Paddy grew and grew and grew. One day she learned the truth. She was the king's daughter. She was born a princess, yet thrown away like she was worth nothing. And now king and the king were dying. You know, there was only one way to save them, the water of life, hidden in the land of the dead. No one could go there. Do you want to go there? No one answered the call. Then one voice spoke. I will go. That voice was Paddy. Paddy's parents said, No, Paddy, don't go. We abandoned you. You own us nothing. Don't go, Paddy. Even so, love is not a trade. You are still my parent. Barry left the palace. She began to walk. Wah, 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 wah. She crossed mountains. Wah, 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 wah. She crossed rivers. Wah, 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 wah. She walked through the darkness longer than night itself, until at last she reached the gate of the land of darkness. Who are you? A guardian asked. Why have you come? Barry answered quietly. I am the princess of Barry. I have come here for the water of life. My parents are dying. Please open the door. The guardian started to laugh. Your parents, even though they abandoned you? Barry answered quietly. Even so, they are still my parents. Please open the door. I need the water of life. The guardian looked at her for a long time. Many people come to this gate. They have come here with sorrow, with anger, with fear. But no one has ever come out of love. Worry. And slowly the gate opened. Deep into the darkness, Barry looked and looked. She couldn't say anything. At the moment, she saw a small light. The water of life. Yes. She carried the water and back to the palace. The king and the queen arrived. The king looked at Bari with tears in his eyes. Oh, Bari, please forgive me. You saved my life. What do you want? I will give you everything. Please tell me. Then Bari answered quietly. 아버지, Father, Father, I already have what I need. Your love, that is enough. Now I must go. From this moment, I will follow the path what I have chosen. And Pari bowed the king, and she left the palace, and she walked through the land of death. She knew the way. Pari, the abandoned child. She was no longer only the abandoned daughter. Now she became the goddess. Guide for the lost soul. Wow, 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 wow. Some children loved when they are born, but some children became love for the world. Her name is, everybody, Pari. This story is for everyone who has ever felt abandoned, including me. Thank you. 감사합니다.
Thank you, Alicia. Such a beautiful telling, just as the word pari means angel. A very, very angelic telling. And the visuals were amazing. Thank you so much for this wonderful story. Thanks a lot. We now move on to our next teller. Again from Springboard Tales, SBT. She is someone who we call as the deep thinker. Someone who could find, I don't know, loads and loads of layers from any story. Debjani does this with a lot of humor and drama into her telling.
Hello, thank you, Pratigya. Well, am I audible? What do you think? My internet is okay?
Go ahead, Dev, you're perfect.
Okay. Once upon a time, at a lakeside home, in the midst of greenery, there lived an almost perfect duck family. Parents, they just rejoiced over their 4 perfect, picture perfect ducklings, naming them, celebrating them, and showcasing them to others. I tell you, when others burn with envy, that only gives satisfaction to the owners, isn't it? Anyways, bad joke, I think. All right. In that house, dear friends, there lived another duckling. She wasn't named. She wasn't celebrated. No, 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 no. Because she was completely dark. And so her parents were always busy trying to fix her, to fit her in by applying this paste and that paste in order to lighten her, brighten her. All in vain. And then, to make matter worse, one day they had an unwanted guest, the old duck auntie, and she, I have come to bless you all, my dear lovely children. What are your names, you lovely four? Very good, very good. Yeah, is this the youngest one? Oh, so dark. Name? No name? Why? Completely dark. Dark in Hindi Kala. Kala se Kali. Name her Kali. Period. Since that day, our little one was known as Kali. Kali the dark, Kali ugly, pugly. And so, from a very early age, our little duckling, started believing that I am not good enough. I am not okay, I think. Time passed. School chapter. Duck International School. Trailing behind her four siblings, Kali, entered the school with some expectations. I think I will find a friend here and we'll have lots of fun here, no? And she entered the classroom. For a moment, dear friends, shh, silence. And then, explosion of laughter, laughter of all kind, but aim only our Kali. It continued. And so soon, Kali realized, I will not have friends here. School, same. But don't worry, Kali, she told herself. I will be my own friend. I will be my own cheerleader. She found a quiet space away from everyone at one side of the lake. And after the school, or whenever she was free, that was her me space where she spent her me time. She was a queen there who would walk tall and very beautifully she would just unfurl her wings and express her emotions. That she was very good at. But no one was interested in knowing that or saying that, Another thing, Kali was very much interested in reading, so she would read books also of different things, different personalities. Well, inside the school, she also found a coping mechanism. In all her free times, she thought, library. Library will be the best place for you, Kali. Nobody will be able to talk, no noise. Peace. Kali started visiting the library, reading the books, borrowing the books, and in the me space and me time, she used to read and reflect on those stories. So one day, she grabbed a book. Somehow the book's cover captivated her attention. On the cover page, there was a girl, very plump and very short hair. And the top, the title was Marmon's Journey. Kali was somehow drawn towards that character. She picked up the book, borrowed the book, and in the meantime, she was reading the book. Marmon was a girl who right from her young age was humiliated, mocked, ridiculed, bullied, body shamed, judged, leveled, compared to, and everything that you can think of happened with her for years. But still, she didn't give up hope. She held on to her faith that one day I will create an identity for myself. Yes. And my actions will speak. That she did indeed. She found an identity for herself very unusually. How? By spreading joy and fun and happiness to others. Kali was so moved with her story. She started talking to Mamun loudly. Mamun, I wish I could meet you. You know, you have inspired me so much. Maybe, like you, I'll also one day find my tribe, my calling, and create an identity for myself. Yes, I've also read, Mamun, all over the world there are so many personalities who were rejected first, but now they are celebrated all over. Yes. Time passed. Our Kali has grown up now. So she began swimming and gliding along the lake, exploring the place all over alone. She developed a kind of disconnect with her duck settlement. And one evening, while moving away, as she was going far and far away from her known area, she spotted a marshy land just by the side of the lake where there was beautiful canopy and underneath a channel of water, some weeds. Kali thought, this will be a beautiful and peaceful place for me to live. There, she continued to live alone. And as I told you, her dance movement, she joyfully expressed herself there, all sorts of emotions. Joy, wonder how the world, the nature is moving. I would love to have some friends. And if anybody dares to come and tell me later something, my action will speak louder. Yes, Veer. You call it divine intervention. You call it poetic justice. You call it alignment of stars. But something happened. One fine day, Kali felt so moved that she was moving and expressing her emotions. Hajiye prabhate robir kor, kemone poshilo pranir por, kemone poshilo guhar adhare, prabhato pakhiro gaon. Na jani keno re, eto din pore, jhagiya uthilo pran. And just as she was moving and expressing, she heard flapping of wings. Flapping, 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 louder, clearer, nearer. Kali stopped, froze. With the corner of her eyes, she spied. They were magnificent birds, not one or two, but a flock of such birds. And they were all cheering. Awesome, amazing, you bird, you rocked it, you were so elegant, you were beautiful. Kali has not used to listening to praises. Please stop! I don't know you are living here. I didn't want to disturb or bother you. Please don't tell all this. I know I'm good for nothing. What? No, friend. You are so amazing. Honestly, we are praising you. You're so elegant, so graceful. What's your name? Kali. Kali? You mean Goddess Kali? The great powerful goddess who killed such demons alone? Such an empowering name, I tell you. No! I'm Kali the Dark. I'm Kali the Ugly. For God's sake, stop! Dear friend, you are not ugly. You are shining, shimmering, elegant diva. The star. Well, that's when these birds just forced Kali to look down at her reflection. By the way, dear friends, Kali had never seen her own reflection. Everybody had decided for her, her image. That's right. But for the first time, she mindfully looked at herself, her own reflection. Yuck! I told you, friends, I don't want to see. What? I'm still not a perfect duck. What? Duck? Why will you be duck? You are a swan. What? Swan? No, I was a duck. I lived with a duck. All the while I'm trying to be a perfect duck. You can never be a duck, dear friend. You are a perfect swan. That too a rare one. A black swan. What? I'm a swan. I'm not a duck. I'm not a duck. I'm a swan. Yes, I'm a swan. I am a swan. I'm a swan. I'm a swan. I'm a swan. I'm a swan. I am a swan. I've got my identity and my tribe. Some children began clapping and said, "You blackbird, you are amazing, mind-blowing." See, we were telling you, no? Look, the children are also praising you. Thank you, friends. I've got you all. The children said, "Oh, bye, dear bird. We are leaving, okay? Tomorrow evening again we will come. We will meet you, okay? Now Silly Billy Maman is coming. We are just leaving." Silly Billy Maman? Silly Billy Maman? Is it that Maman? My Maman? Kali bent herself and took a round of that place. She could hear the sound. She could hear the cheering of the children. But she just tried to look, and she saw cock-a-doodle-doodle-doo, cock-a-doodle-doodle-doo. I am a silly billy clown. Do you want to dance with me? A cock-a-doodle-doodle-doo, cock-a-doodle-doodle. Hey! Kali was so relieved. Maman, I have seen her. She has got places in so many hearts. And today I have got my tribe too. And so, dear friends, since then, Kali lived ever after. And as for Maman, she is also living. She has got her tribe, isn't it? Here is Maman. And here you all are her tribe, aren't you? So that was the story from your teller, Mamoni. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much, Dipjani. You breathe new life into a familiar story, and your expressions, your body language was captivating and spot on from beginning to the end. Thank you so much. That reminds me a lot of Bollywood movie, with all the dance moves. Thank you so much, Dipjani. Everybody, our next storyteller for today is also a musician who plays the piano, self-made flutes, and many other instruments. She performs internationally, bringing stories into life through music and her unique storytelling style. And you might wonder who this amazing, talented storyteller is. So without further ado, please welcome, all the way from Germany, Momo Hans.
Thank you for this wonderful introduction. I'm sorry, I'm completely out of voice. I don't know if you hear it. I have a very low voice today. I can do a very good buffalo. I'm going to do one, but I don't have any upper voices. So enjoy my instruments. I will begin my two stories with an instrument which has two flutes. I didn't make it myself, but I love it very much. And I want to bind together the two stories like the two melodies of the flute. And I also hope to bind together some of the energies we have felt in the last stories for you to take them home. And the first story I'm going to tell you traveled to Germany, and I have no idea how a water buffalo traveled into the story because I didn't really see one in Germany. But it was the little snake which will bind together our little two stories. And it's a very little golden and fine snake. And she sneaks through the stones and the sand and the grassland. And once she saw a lake. Oh no, it was not as big as a lake. It was smaller. It was like a pond. No, it wasn't a pond. It was even smaller, like a puddle. You know, a puddle in German, it says Pfütze. I don't know if you can say the word. You can try. Pfütze. It's so neat because it's exactly the sound your foot makes if you step into a Pfütze. It's very small and you can find it on your pathway. And that was the little Pfütze the little golden snake saw. And she witnessed a small little fish, a lady fish. And the Pfütze was all she had. It was her home. And she was happy. She was happy all day and she was happy all night. She just loved to live. So why not be happy? Nothing really could bother her. But then there came the big buffalo, the water buffalo. And he stepped to the Pfütze, the little tiny Pfütze, and said, "Oh, I'm thirsty. I'm going to drink the Pfütze." And this big head comes down with a big tongue, and he does something like and the little lady fish, she jumps out of the water and says, no. Oh, see my voice. You have to imagine. No, don't ever eat and drink my Pfütze. It's my water. It's all I have. Your water? I don't care. I'm thirsty. I'm gonna drink your water. And the buffalo goes, and the big tongue gets into the water. Then the lady fish, she gets really angry. She jumps out of the water and says, "No, you're not going to drink my Pfütze. This is my space. You are going to go away. It's all I have. Look at me. Ha ha ha! You're a tiny little fish. I don't care. I'm thirsty. I'm going to drink the water. And the big tongue goes into the water, and the ladyfish sees this big head, bigger than her pfütze. Then she jumped outside, and she said, "You know what? If you're going to drink more of my pfütze, I'm going to open up my fish mouth, and I'm gonna eat you in one piece." You can't eat me in one piece. And the buffalo begins to do this. And I know most of you are storytellers, so imagine the little lady fish opens her mouth and she makes it very, very big, and she eats up that buffalo in one piece. I don't know how much weeks or days passed until the little golden snake is going to wander into another story, which traveled from Mallorca to Germany and probably changed on the way. And the little golden snake, she put her head into a small cottage, and she saw a little girl. It was such a nice girl. She felt she had a golden heart. And she went inside, and she said, "You know what? Please, please let me in. I just want to sleep in your house and have one little milk in the evening, just a bit. If you do that, you know what will happen? I will bring bliss, and I will bring wealth into your house." And the little girl, she was, "Oh, you're so beautiful. I don't know if my mother will say yes to this. You know, we don't have anything. We are hardly having enough to eat and to drink. But I'm going to ask her." And what do you think when she mother came home? Will she say yes? What do you think? Yeah? Some of you say yes? Yeah, some of you have mothers or fathers. Of course, the mother came home and the little girl said, "Please, please, please, let's see this little golden snake. Can I show you what I made? I made this basket out of grass, so the little snake can curl itself up and sleep at our house." And she talked to me, mother. She talked to me and said, "If you're going to let her sleep in our house and she will get a little bit milk in the evening, she will bring bliss and she will bring wealth in our house. Please, mother." And she said yes, the mother. And so the little snake slept in this grass basket, and she got milk every evening, but she never, ever talked a single word anymore. But you know, the girl got bigger and bigger, and the snake also. She got bigger and bigger and bigger. Once there came an old neighbor, and he saw this grass basket and said to the girl, "This is much too small. You have to make a bigger basket so the big snake has enough place to sleep." So she made it even bigger and bigger, just with a little grass and one thread. And she became a young woman. And they had a beautiful golden snake, which never ever talked one word again. But then one day, without saying a word, without saying goodbye, the snake just went out of the door, out of the cottage, and vanished. The young woman didn't really, she couldn't bear it. She went outside and looked for the snake, and she saw the snake tail a little bit gold and glimmer, and she went after the snake, and the snake, she went more and more in the middle of the island. In some places the young woman was never ever before. And she went up the mountains, and maybe they passed a lake or a puddle or a pfütze, I don't know. But she ended up in the middle of the island, where there was nothing than grassland and stones. And the snake, she didn't see anything of her anymore. She was gone. So the young woman, she sat on one of those stones, and she thought about the long, long years she took care of the snake, and she felt how much she loved her, and she began to cry. She sat there and cried, and her tears went down her face. And that was the time when the snake came back, and she had something in her mouth. She went up to the young woman, sat in front of her with this long neck of the snake, and it was a golden comb for her hair. And she put it down, and she talked the second time now to the young woman. Go home. Comb your hair with my golden comb. Take your basket I was sleeping in and comb it like this. And I promise you, you will get bliss and wealth in your home. But now we have to say goodbye forever. I will go back in the kingdom of snakes. So they had to say goodbye forever. And she went back home with nothing more than a golden comb. And she took the grass crop and she combed her hair in the little cottage. Nobody was at home. You know what happened? Out of her hair, there were diamonds coming out, falling into the basket. And the diamonds, they bring bliss and wealth into the house. And all of you know, wealth and bliss, it's not about any dollars or euros or something like that. It's the wealth of life. So if you want to take the wealth of all the beautiful stories we heard, and the wealth of the last ones and all of what we take, just reach out to the camera and take it. Thank you.
Oh, how beautiful, Momo. Thank you so much for that. And thanks for sharing that little wealth with all of us, because when I try this, all that I get is half turned gray hair. What a beautiful evening of amazing stories of all the she who speak. Some out of love, some out of frustration, some out of maturity, and some out of all the learnings that they get. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for this wonderful session. Let me call over Zip now and take it over, Zip.
Thank you, Preti. And for now, we will have some time for the audience to share your thoughts and feelings or ask our tellers questions that you might have. So
I'm walking away with just a plethora of so many wonderful stories this morning. For me, it's morning, and delightful to listen to each and every one of you and the she says and just the different ways you've twisted the stories. So thank you. You filled my heart with so much more.
thank you, Selena. I hope it's this wonderful beginning to your day in Canada. Oh, yeah, Lalita, please.
Thank you. I just wanted to say, if she speaks, this is how it will be. It is really, really wonderful. Thank you so much. Alvin, even you spoke for her. So when she speaks, this is how it will be. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, Feast. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't think I can speak more because there's nothing we can say. It has been a wonderful evening. All the stories, such lovely, powerful stories. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Like I feel the same way, Lalita. Thank you very much. I think Deepa has a question or something to share. Please go ahead, Deepa.
Yes, thank you. And it's like heartfelt gratitude to all of you. And the kind of stories came, everything, like every story had something which I felt connected to. And just gratitude.
Thank you very much,
No
Deepa.
question, just
Oh,
gratitude. Thank you.
thank you. Thank you so much. Like I really enjoy all the stories too. Like sometimes I even forgot that I had a job to do.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deep. Thank you, Zip, and thank you, Pratigya, for that wonderful hosting and what a fabulous evening. I should say, I'm just looking back at where it all started. We started about 2 months back where we started discussing who's going to be the tellers and what stories are going to come, and we did practice a lot. And they brought in stories, and just look at what was delivered today. My heart is full. Thank you so much, our dear feast tellers and Springboard Tales, for making this evening a fabulous one. So look for our Across Borders event. We will be telling more about Across Borders event. So this is a call to our institutional members. And if you would like to be a part of the next Across Borders event, please do write to us. We love connecting borders through stories.